Good morning. Happy New Year to everybody. We got our page back up, so we were fiddling around with that a little bit this morning. It sounds like it's working, Ski, because I can hear myself back here. Okay. So coming back this year, we just got over a silly season in the fire service where elections happened and all that, and I hope people come through well there, and I wish all any new officers or anything good luck. We do. Wish I knew which way was left. I kept more right than left. So something we wanted to talk about today was, and this popped up. I had seen it on Facebook as we were thinking about what we were going to discuss. And it was new members in the fire service and how we bring them into our departments, how we treat them. And when I talk about new members, I don't mean somebody that's been in the fire service and then moves departments. I'm talking about fresh into the fire service, off the street, never been in the fire service before. And I guess the post I had seen was about somebody had joined. They did some training or whatnot, I guess, and they posted a picture. They were staffing at the station, I think, and you know, of course, everybody wants to poke fun at the photo and the thank you for your service is not a big deal. It's just funny, but I guess there were some other comments on there. So that's how this originated, this topic. But you know, we always say, hey, we need people. We need to bring them in, you know, more manpower and train them and whatnot and do all that. But do we really want them here? Well, hopefully the answer is yes. And everybody's guilty of it, right? You bring somebody new in and maybe they go take an essentials class with somebody. And then of course, they bring that back to the department. Well, they said in here, you do this. And then the guy that's been here 20 years ago, well, we never did it that way. And we're not going to do it that way because that's the way we've always done it. And we should welcome these people more and at least hear them out, you know, what they've learned. And you know, you take a class, of course, and in the class, you learn it the way the book says it, right? The instructors, that's the way it's done, and that's just how it is. Same thing when you go to school. You learn what the book has in there. But you take that stuff from that class you took, the classroom, the book, and what you were taught, and it doesn't fit until you actually use it in the street, I think, anyway. And you can always say that there's no replacement for years of experience. You know, getting years and time under your belt to see how those things in the book transition to the street, but not exactly the way. See, you like to maybe read the word for word everything. This is exactly how you do it. And
see, that's where it's just a guideline.
Right, a guideline. So when you do that, first of all, if you go train, say you go down to the public safety center and we burn in there, right? So we light some pallets and hay on fire in here, up on the second floor, whatever. Your very first fire is nothing like that.
Right.
Right?
It's all controlled, safe.
Yeah, you have a feeling of comfort, different, and then you can see, you know, and then we can't see. And this and that. Ski's getting a call. But you know, same thing with a vehicle rescue class.
You have no panic.
We put a car up on top of there. There's no live human being in there. There's none of that. So this is the way we're going to do this in this, you know, in this time frame. Then you get there on the real thing and you're like, ugh, nothing like what we just did. No. So, and of course, you know, when you're, I guess, whether you're young or whatever, and that's what you're taught, then you bring that back to the firehouse and maybe share that knowledge that you learned. And remember, if you haven't taken a vehicle rescue class in 15 years, first of all, cars are way different.
Oh,
And hell, building construction is way different for that matter. But there may be some stuff we can pick up off these people, and we shouldn't be shoving them out of the fire service. We go off topic here for a minute, but I do that. I do that a lot around, even around all the time. But when we bring these new members in, we have to have something set up where, you know, we welcome them, right, and do the same thing with every one of them.
Okay.
You know, it's different. Like when Jester come over, he's not a new member. He's a new member here.
But he's been in the fire service.
He's been in the fire service, so he understands it's a different culture. You know, no matter where you're at, things are different the way they do, but it's the same type of culture.
Right,
It's the same.
It was easier that the department I was with was close to you guys before.
Right.
So I already knew all the members that were here from calls
Right.
before. So it helped me out personally. Coming in here, it was like nothing that was harder than anything else.
But we all have a different way of stroking people per se. You know, we all have our own way of, you know, how we, you know, and how I treat Randy or talk to Randy on a regular basis isn't how I would talk to a new member, of course, because if I do that, then they shouldn't be here 5 minutes, right? And believe me, I get it back, or he starts it usually.
Well, even like when I first joined here, I was a new member to the fire service, and I was only going off of, you know, talking to my family members that got me into it. So you come in here with, you know, one mindset, and it just definitely, I mean, it goes left field quickly. And then you got to personally have to get a feeler for it. And then you can start, you know, poking back and having fun with it.
Right. And you're right. Everybody's different, right? Everybody grew up different. Everybody come from a different place. And, you know, you can warn them as much as you want. But until you really see how it goes in the firehouse, it's, you know, and it could be, you could be in a fire, and we do. And we have it on video. Why were you doing that? But it was just your way of getting through what we were doing, right? I mean,
And I think that's the biggest thing they teach you, even through like essentials, is it doesn't matter what you're talking about.
We're
You're in a
communicating.
fire. You just talking.
I can hear your voice. I can hear his voice. I can hear his voice. So I know we're all still together,
Right.
and whatever we're saying is what. But, you know, that's one thing is the culture in the firehouse, and, you know, the things that go on in the firehouse. You know, and really, people could get really offended fast. I mean, sometimes you think about some of the stuff we go back and forth to each other about. You think, why do I even talk to him? And, you know, that's what we do. But it's all in good fun, I think, for the most part. But when you're like, get somebody in that, like you said, you know, we could say we get on the street and find a girl to bring up here, a female, and we have to, it doesn't matter male or female, but that was just an example. We have to be careful how we acclimate them to what goes on here. And certainly making fun of somebody for going to training or something they picked up in training is not a great idea.
No, that's the fastest way to drive somebody out.
Right. You know, and you got to pick your person, you know, whether it's two people that, like a new member committee or whatever you want to call it, or a couple guys.
Welcoming committee.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Welcome to the neighborhood committee. You know, you got to be careful who you use there. Because some people are just you know, it could be abrasive all the time and say, this is how it is. We're not doing that. And you know, we don't do anything different than how we've always done it. Well, that's not going to, because you're hurting your whole department at that point. Geez, we probably change things around here. I mean, the way we think, you know, pretty frequently. whether something happened that made us do that or whatever. But I don't know if it's, you get, and these are just ideas, everybody does it their own way. Some, hey, this is how we do this. We vote them in. Once they're voted in, then after the meeting or whatever, or the next day, these two members meet with that new member and get them gear, get them, on our alerting system, get them a minute or however you do it. And everybody's the same, because I've watched us do it differently each time. Well, we brought this person in and they didn't get gear for 2 weeks. Why? Just, you brought them in as a member, get them the gear they need, explain to them how we do things, and you can tell them how it's, hey, when an alarm comes in, this is how we do it, until they actually pull in here when the alarm's coming in and it looks like an anthill and trucks just out the door, So until you experience on their end, they have to experience the actual thing happening. And you can tell them till you're blue in the face how it's going to be, but it depends. I mean, that very first call they respond to might be an automatic fire alarm at McDonald's, or it might be a house fire with entrapment over the way here. And that's going to be two different responses. It's going to be two different arrivals. It's going to be two different rides on the truck, and all that stuff. But so you have a committee, do that, get them the gear, get them everything they need. And, you want to get them in the firehouse, get them talking, see where they come from, and that's how, everybody has to be done differently. Now you get people with, you have to handle with kid gloves. Now, maybe they change, right? He's changed a little bit. He's become a little meaner than he used to be. It's being around us probably, I'm thinking.
Mostly you.
Oh, okay. I won't say anything. I'm just reading this comment 1 second. I can't beat those real good. They don't come up on there. I'm trying to read. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so you're saying there's a rookie book out there that you can use. Darso's sick. Darso was supposed to be here today. He's not feeling good, but he's good enough to type on there. We didn't want him to give us anything. Current older members are so used to the way we do things, and that's what we were talking about. We were talking about that. Okay, son.
Who's that, Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie Dutton over there. I'll call Beth and get a whooping. Yeah, older members, right? That's a hard thing. That's even a hard thing when, older members and geez, we even did it. We changed a ton of stuff, and we really shocked the shell on a few things.
I mean, it comes back down to like the old school, new school.
Yeah.
Like, you have your way you've done it for years. You can change. Like the fire service is always evolving, so you can always change. So just because you've done it this way for 20 years doesn't mean it's the best way.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, I'm not saying what we did yesterday was the best way to do it, but hopefully we learn from that. But like what Durso's saying, I think that is an issue, and that can even be an issue between a new regime and an old regime. And that fits too what we're talking about. And I'll just speak to what we, because can't speak to what anybody else has done or did. We shocked the shell down here. I mean, really hard. and we've implemented new things and did different things, and it hurt in a couple spots. Now, did it hurt to the point where it hurt us in performance and answering alarms and doing the PR things we have to do and fundraising and stuff like that? No, it did not. It changed very little, actually. There's actually a few more people than there was previous. But it's sad to see, you have members that were here for years and years, and over something so silly, just don't come around.
Right.
Or badmouth you out in the street. And it's just unnecessary. And if for the current time and that my time here, your time here, and your time here, we should, we're doing the best we can do, right? And doing that. Now, someone else is going to do it differently. You try to lay the groundwork to do it right, but everybody has different ideas. And, we do it as a group now, though, and we do it out in the open. There was a lot of hiding things and doing that. So we keep it in the open. And now it seems that being as open as we are,
It's bad.
has become a problem. Why would you say that in a meeting or whatever, or send a message or whatever? Why did you do that? Well, you guys wanted folks wanted this to be open. Here we are. We're one group. And the thing is, it can stay in the group. We don't have to go outside the firehouse and go over to another fire station and say, well, listen to what this yo-yo's doing over there. And it happens, right? I mean, we hear it.
It happens everywhere.
I don't know that. Hopefully, it doesn't happen here, but I'm sure it does. But I don't think it does.
I mean, the biggest, and you said it, the fire service itself evolves every day. Fire changes, vehicles change, everything changes. So we have to change right along with it. We can't fight a fire the same way we did 20 years ago. You just can't. It's hotter. It moves faster. The materials they build with are lightweight. They fall apart easier. I'm not the smallest guy, so I go on a second story house. The floor is probably burned out underneath me after 5 minutes of that fire burning. So, we have to do things differently. We have to change right along with it.
So, Gina, I agree with you, and it's a size 13, but I do agree with what you're saying there. And, there's a line between that, too. And Bam, yes, we lose sight of the mission, of course, and that's, I think we were there. I think some things were taking precedent over actually why we were here. This place wasn't put here. Essentially, this fire station wasn't put here where it is, and to have parties and hang out and do. Now that's part of it, right? But our main purpose for being here is that when that alarm goes off, somebody needs help, we have to go. That's why we're here. That's the only reason we're here.
Public service.
If we have a pool table in here, a PlayStation 5, or the free soda machine over there where you can just hit the button, pop comes out, chips in the cover. That's no good if there's no fire. We wouldn't be in this building. We would just do that down at Jester's house.
Right.
You know what I mean? He got chips and dip down there all the time. We get out and get some.
I feel like that's a fat joke.
It was. This table's got a lot of weight on it, right? But that stuff all fits to where then we fellowship or whatever you want to call it with each other, and that makes that work. And if the fellowship part isn't working, that's not going to work. So it all goes hand in hand. But our mission here is what? When the alarm goes off, somebody needs help, we got to go. And that's it.
Save lives and property.
That's really it. He was going to say the other thing I told him not to say. but we bring the people in, we get off track real easy. This is almost just like a conversation sitting here, and I start stuttering over here because I don't even know where we were at. But so yeah, new members, right? This is, and the one was welcome to the show, if you know, and hopefully you get. But yeah, right, it is part of that. But we have to welcome these new members in, get them. It's our responsibility to get them ready to be out there. You know, regardless of whatever training is out there and any standards we set or whatever, it's our job to get them to a point where they're more comfortable. Everybody's not always comfortable when you go to an alarm, depending on what it is. You know, some might deal with a wreck better than a fire or whatever it is. But it's our job to get them ready, give them the tools they need, train them properly, get them trained properly, whether it's in-house or out, you know, class, and treat them with respect. Of course, there's nothing wrong with ribbing somebody or doing the, you know, the stroking part and all that, because that's just part of it. I mean, I probably do my lion's share of stroking people sometimes, maybe once in a while. No, okay. Maybe I'll do better at that maybe this year.
Well, you got to cater, but at the same time, you can't be fake.
Right.
Because in 6 months, if you know you're catering and being fake, it's all going to change. That's going to push them out later down the road.
Right, and that's exactly right. These are hard. Because of that background, it's tough to read. It's very light.
You want me to read you the question?
No, I'm gonna have a reader in here now. Maybe I'll get an earpiece and you can read them to me.
You tell
Isn't that how they do it on the news? Like they just say, "Hey, this guy said with the thing,"
them,
or
like a
whatever.
teleprompter.
I don't know what you need a teleprompter.
Mrs. White's watching, so you better be careful.
Mrs. White is watching. She'd like to see me up here, I think. Here comes a bad comment right here. It might hurt my feelings.
My husband, the podcast star.
Yeah, your stars all right. But yeah, right. So we can drive them off pretty easy. We think you bring somebody in and I can't talk to them the same way I talk to you as long, I've known you and known Jester and Randy. And there's people even here that, I don't say the same thing. You got to watch. And it's hard, but you have to do it. People live different at home. People do things differently. Now, am I saying we're going to put a sign up because somebody's here that doesn't like us swearing? No. It happens. No, on here, I watch I know when it's time to watch what you say, and I hope sometimes. I don't think I've used too many swear words on here. I might have said hell or damn.
Right now, you just said two.
Well, yeah. I'm saying previous to
Those
that.
don't count. Those were examples.
Those are examples, right? I don't think we just blurted the F word out right on here or anything. I hope. And Durso, I can read that quick because it come right up on the bottom. All I see is social media, so I know what you're saying there. Right, so you post yourself in your gear, or you post something on Facebook. You stand in front of the truck or whatever. I think, of course, you're going to get some that are just going to give you some stuff about it, right? And I've seen it, and some of it's all in good fun, and somebody has to go too far. But
It's easy to do.
on the flip side of it, though, you have to watch how much your feelings get hurt too over nothing. And I'll give you an example. It wasn't social media, but it's a
For a reloading.
well, yeah. Your mom put a comment on there about if you have to tell them how you guys act, kind of what, and they'll understand that it's all in good fun. But she's right, but. I just get completely lost because that threw me off. Anyway,
Another error?
it's a new year. This is the first, we haven't done this in 3 weeks, so I'm like off my game a little bit. when you have these things where you post these photos and do this stuff, and people have to watch what you say, but there, I got back to it. So it wasn't on social media, it was a comment. We were discussing something in the fire station here. We have a group that we discuss different things back and forth when we're not here in the fire station on the phone. It's just like a chat room, I guess, what you call it. But we were discussing something. It's something we had discussed several times previously, and the group seemed to be on board with doing it, right? Well, the one that was kind of driving me a little bit, he even said to me, he said, "Hey, have you put any more thought into this?" And I said, "Yeah, a lot." And then I kind of floated the idea out there of this is how we could do it. And he's like, "I'm totally against this." Well, my head almost blew off my shoulders because, and I know a couple of guys said, "Well, I just put my phone down because I thought it was coming." And so I took out of context what he was saying. He was saying that I don't agree with the way you're saying we should do it, which is no problem. Because like I've said before, and we've talked about on here before, you come up with an idea. If Jester comes up with an idea, the idea is great, but that's not how it's not going to be implemented in the end like that, because now we get input from here, here, and here. I hope everybody does that. And I'm sure there's ones that don't, but anyway. But that goes along with this social media where, and we know there's pages out there that, and it may all be in good fun, some of those pages, but some of them go too far sometimes. And I watch them, especially now because it gives us ideas for on here. They take it too far with the comments that they make. And I seen something floating around on, I meant to bring it, I have it on my phone. Damn it. I know who. I want to get it right, because if I don't get it right, then I'm, that's not what they said. You guys can talk when I'm looking for stuff. I'm not the brain trust over here. I think Bill Wright had it on there.
You got to think sometimes though on social media too, we're our own worst enemy.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at that and you go like, well, no wonder people are poking fun.
Actually, Southwest might have shared it on their page too.
But usually it's those young, eager guys. You don't see the older guys making that kind of mistake, and you see the young, eager kid making that mistake, and then that could be driving a way to drive somebody out, and it's not even your department that drives them out.
Right. Right.
And so my saying, and I've said it here a couple times, and I like having quarters in the fire department. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. They both equal $1, but I want the quarters and I don't want the pennies. So with a new guy, new person, they're a penny. And it's your job to make them the quarter.
Right.
Right? You get a guy that's a transfer over, he better be the quarter. I don't want him as a penny. Right? Well, he came over as like a dime.
2 dimes and a nickel.
We made it before.
2 dimes and a nickel.
One of them was fake.
Yeah. Buffalo nickel.
Was it a Canadian?
It was a wooden nickel.
Wooden nickel.
But it's our job to make him that quarter, right? Make him that better person.
Right.
And I see a lot of comments about the rookie books. So those rookie books work really well if you have a limited number of people teaching that rookie book, right? Because I wouldn't task certain people with teaching certain things, right? Our deputy chief here blows me out of the water when it comes to rescue. Just
Ropes too, especially the ropes.
everything he talks about rescue, sometimes I'm error 403 couldn't be found. And I've been doing this a long time, and he still puts me in awe with the rescue stuff that comes out of his mouth, right? So I want him teaching the new guy the the rescue, right? But it's not gonna hurt you to have, a couple of those nickels that we're trying to make quarters listening to and having their input too. Well, I did it this way. Everybody thinks the fire service is one way and one way only,
Right.
right? And that's kind
Well,
of the
it
way,
can be.
well, that's the way we kind of get taught in the schools, right? In the long run, if you have the critical thinking that's required to be a modern firefighter, then there's a million ways to skin that cat, right? So that's what you're trying to transform that person that's a penny. You're trying to give them that thought process, the critical thinking that comes along with firefighting, right? Then you add in the firehouse shenanigans, we'll call it.
That's what they are. That's what, right.
And you gotta have the shenanigans, you gotta be laughing, you gotta, honestly, you gotta walk away sometimes pissed off, and I don't wanna talk to them guys for the rest of the day. But that's how conversations happen, right? I can't be afraid to offend somebody, especially in the upper echelon, I'll say the experienced firefighters. You can't be afraid to call them out, because if you don't, nothing changes, and that's become stagnant, and that's terrible for new recruitment as well.
Very true.
So and I know there's a couple of career guys on here too. I just saw, and I'll be careful how I say it. So we may end up on the page next for me saying this, but well, we don't do it. So a lot of your paid departments are in bigger cities. Now they're becoming more, when I say full paid department, I'm talking like the city of New York and Pittsburgh and places like that, Hagerstown and those places, DC, whatnot. There's a lot more going on in those cities than go on here in South Greensburg or Enfield Township or the city of Greensburg or whatever. But ultimately, when we get on the fire truck and go out to do whatever we're doing, whether it's a wreck or a fire, we're doing the same types of things they're doing. We do them differently because they do it on a regular basis. So they have the street experience, as opposed to how we don't have it so much. But the thing that was going around that caught my eye, and we have something similar to this hanging here in the station. It says, being a volunteer is no excuse for mediocrity. And then our banner out in the bay says, we will not celebrate mediocrity, I think it says. But there's another thing too, and that ends you up on, one of these pages out there and whatnot. And it hurts some people, and especially if you're new. So if you're new, so firefighter one's a thing, right? A class you take. You go through your essentials. Now they've really done it. It seems to be done better today than it used to be done. But of course, that's part of evolving. But so you go to your essentials, and the smartest thing you can do is just take the firefighter one test after, because you're coming out of there fresh with the knowledge that is in that book for that test and all that stuff, and you do it. And it's time consuming. It takes up your time. And, whatever's going on. I mean, you have a life outside of the fire service, right? Now, some of us love it way more than we should. Maybe we should. I don't know if we should, but, we're just, they call whackers or whatever we are. We love this thing for now.
Right.
And one day our time will be up. And, it could be next week or whatever. You don't know. But for now, we love it and we do it. So when you take that essentials and that firefighter one test, BVR, those basic type things, it takes up a lot of your time, and you should be proud of yourself, and we should be proud of you. Actually, we should be the one putting you on social media, and I see people do it. We try to do it. I know the last one was Morgan and whatever, firefighter one. But then they get pounded for it. Hey, I just did this, did that. Now, there's a difference between taking a picture of yourself in front of yourself in front of a burning house. That's just, don't do, why would you do that? First, we should be doing something other than taking photographs, right? There's plenty of people around taking photographs on the sidelines that you can see yourself later if you really want to see yourself. but these kids, whether they're young or older, or these new members, or they're proud of what they did. And actually, the department should showcase that. We had a fire the other night, and the fella that knocked the fire down, the Southwest has some knock dog thing. It's a little stuffed dog they hand around. It's awesome, right? I mean, that's good. You know, and it shows pride. And I'll just say, real quick about that fire over there. There was a young crew on that ladder truck when they came in. They did an amazing job. They really did. And, you know, of course, one, it was a couple of, you know, you see them, like we see them on the regular, them guys over there, and I see them pretty frequently. I'll stop over there. And I stroke them by the thing or whatever. I'm going to tell you, when they pulled in there, they went right to work. And of course, there's me, as normal, yelling at them. You know, let's go. And they just did it. They really did. And it was an amazing thing to see. And I mentioned it to their chief. I said, hey, those guys did a really good job. And he looked at me and he's like, really? He thought I was stroking him. I said, no, I'm not kidding. They really did. And they were trained right. You know, whether it was, a lot of it was in the firehouse, some of it was in the firehouse, some of it was down here taking this class, that class, and they put it all together. It was an amazing thing to see. And your department should be proud of that. I mean, when we do things too, we see our people how to do stuff. And oh man, that, you know, we actually did something there and it worked and we followed along. And whether that's new members or older members, but these guys, I mean, they're not new like yesterday, but they haven't been around a long time. And some of them are newer. And that was great for them.
Some of them guys, that might have been their first actual fire.
Maybe, possibly right. And they did it. They did an amazing job, and they should be recognized for that. You put in all that work going to this class, that class, this class, going to this drill, that drill, and doing all this, and it paid off right there that time. And it paid in full, really. You know, it was a minor fire, but it was a fire. It could have been worse. Always can be better, right? Always. I mean, no matter what, it always can be better. So kudos to them and that crew over there for doing that. And of course, they had a seasoned driver on the truck, and you know he had his crew ready to go and was, I assume, actually I don't assume, I was talking to them on the way over, see who was, you know, able to do what, because some of them were new enough that he said, hey, how many mass men do I have back there? And they're like, we all are. So, oh, good, you know. So good for them. But we really, the thing is, we say we want these members, I'm gonna say it again, we say we want these members, but do we really? Based on the way we bring them in, and throw them into the fire, so to speak.
Trial
And
fire.
I don't mean into the fire, I mean into the fire in this room in here. You know, geez, I still get offended sometimes when I walk into another firehouse or something. And you go, what do they mean by that? Are they really serious about what they just said, or are they just stroking it? So you have to be like, and
It's hard to get the context of it.
Bam texted me the other day. He goes, hey, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm good. Why? And he's like, I was just checking on you. You got grandkids now. You seem like you're getting a little soft. I don't know. Maybe.
A little squishy.
But, you know, we all sometimes walk away with that hurt feeling right out of here. At times. If you do it every day, you're just not going to come around then. But there's times you know, geez, you guys hurt my feelings mostly every day, but some I can deal with, and some, you know, some that I just send you a message about this long. Now I'm done with it.
But see, at times you got to realize when you have to put your feelings in check,
Right.
and then when you can actually have your feelings.
Well, you gotta think that's a hard road to navigate for a new guy. Right.
Right, for a new guy.
Right? You come into an established family, because ultimately I like to consider this family, right? I could probably call anybody on the list. You can help with anything I needed,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
you know? And, or hell, even if, you know, life isn't going my way, you know, and I'm just not, like, I need to talk to somebody.
Right.
I might get stroked a little bit for it at the end of the day, but I bet you during that time, it wouldn't be none of that.
No,
You know what I mean? And, that's a really hard, that's a bumpy road to navigate as a new person, right? And, I think you have to be a little bit, not over the top, but over the top with the new members, because if they're not going to be a fit in your family, they're not going to be a fit in your family,
Right.
right? And you can pretty much tell right away if they're going to be able to get along or not. And it doesn't, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but maybe this just isn't fit for them. And you ask the question, do we really want them? If a guy comes in and just starts causing drama right away, no,
Right.
I don't want you, right? Or
That's how you start getting pulled apart.
that was his first time, teacher. He did all right, I thought. Nothing got broke. He said, I heard they had a rookie on a turntable.
was pushing the LBS, but it was good.
We had to set the outriggers a little extra deep when I was standing up there.
It was struggling to move. Watch.
It was a heater, you know, big truck man that he is. He was, they had put the ladder through trees up here and they did it the other day, I guess. And I said, listen, heater. I said, this was wide open in a big open parking lot and there was nothing around that could possibly get hit. So I was good. I mean, if I hit something there, I had real problems. Like, sorry, but you're right. And someone, new coming in, it's a thing to see.
Yeah.
Like, you're a guy, and I won't always use me as an example because then my feelings get hurt. I hurt my own feelings.
Yeah.
But you're rough around the edges.
Oh yeah.
You go into a room. You're just like I'm loud. You're loud, and you're not yelling. That's just the way you talk.
Right.
But you can take over a room pretty easy.
Well,
A room of people,
I think that takes the personality of the fire department, though. Like,
and sometimes you may say things that, you know, somebody that's been in the fire service he's just talking and you know whatever. But someone new coming in, it takes a while to warm up. It certainly takes people a while to warm up, either here or anywhere else, to just how I do things.
right.
And do I try to work on it? I'd be lying if I said, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go that far. Now I'm going to go 3/4 of the way there every time, but
You were like, you're always at like 125%. You need to bring it
Yeah.
down like 110.
okay. I don't disagree.
Still over the top.
but the thing is-
Bring it back a little bit.
And whether he can even be, and I'm sure it comes, and I've heard people say but he can be intimidating to anybody
Oh, absolutely.
when he starts talking nonsense. And sometimes he's not even making no sense, but we're like, man, he knows what he's talking about. No, he don't.
No, just talk to me.
Makes it sound
It sounds good, right? And that's how we all,
Mumbling.
that's how we all make it sound, though. We try to make it sound good, and you know, sometimes fake it till you make it. We pretend well, whatever it is. But we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. We've been here a little while. We want to bring people into our department. We do, and we have to do a better job everywhere, here, wherever. And maybe it is those. Hey, you know, Jared says what he wants to say, but he's soft spoken about it. He's not, and sometimes the volume just, you know, gets people goofy. And Jared doesn't have to use those strong words to get his point across. He's very good at that. That is one thing he's very good at. He's good at a lot of things. I didn't mean that, Jared. I didn't want to offend you right there, but he's good at a lot of stuff. But you know, Jared and whoever else. Now that's their job to take this new person and say, hey, look, this guy over here is this. Just to don't, you know, what he's saying is right, but the way he says it is horrible. Don't be offended by it. We have to make them understand that that's not what it is. And you're always careful with a new member around, I would hope. You know, I mean, we say things to each other that we wouldn't say to other people
Play company.
outside of here, correct, right.
Not only that, I think you gotta get them used to the fact of, yeah, what you see in here and how we talk in here. You know, we may be politically correct in here or whatever, we're being nice, but once the whistle blows and we're outside,
It's the work,
everything just hits the fan.
right.
And it's gonna be a totally different experience.
But
You gotta be used to
it's going to work.
But plus, I mean, you gotta think, I mean, the old adage too, like, if they ain't picking on you, they don't like you. Right?
Right.
That's what I
And
mean.
honestly, if I come in here and everybody's like, yeah, life is good, like, what the heck is going on? Like,
So the
what
more,
did I do to offend you, you know?
the more names I call you and the more I spend time talking to you, that means that then I love you, right?
Precisely, yeah.
And if I just walk by and say some bad words to you and just keep on going, then you're don't mean nothing much to me, right?
Just like yesterday, case in point, come in, didn't say too many words.
I was busy yesterday.
What's the first thing I did?
Yeah, well, I wasn't right. He called me. He goes, "Well, you all right?" Because I wasn't right. I didn't come in stroking him.
Right,
I
right.
come in, did what I had to do, and I left because I was in the middle of doing a couple things at work and here, and I knew I had to catch up on some things because I got that project going on in my house. So, right, I wasn't me when I come in here yesterday, and I wasn't mad about anything. I was just, I got to get this stuff done and move on. I don't have time to, because then I start talking to you, especially you. We can sit here for 3 days. And then my wife's call, "Are you coming home?" Well, Randy won't be quiet, you know. And so that right. And that,
Start packing a go bag every time he leaves.
yeah, the I haven't been to the Bon Ton yet in 2024. I think you're banned from over there right now. But
But my wife always says it. I've been married for going on 13 years, and my wife's still trying to figure out how to like me. But she always says, I'm an acquired taste,
absolutely,
right? And you're an acquired taste,
absolutely, no doubt.
you know? And then, but you look at Jared, who's, I would consider on par with the best leaders in this department, right? Like,
Correct.
he is a definition of it, but he is not. He's a completely different style of leadership,
Right.
But he still commands the same everything
Right.
that the acquired taste guys have, right? And I think that's why we have it pretty good, because we definitely have guys that are like that, but you also have the guys that are an acquired taste, right? And you got to have the good with the bad. You got to have the heads with the tails, right?
Definitely agree with that.
And how I would explain something is not how Jared, definitely not how Jared would explain it.
No. But it mixes together with us, right?
Absolutely.
That can keep my mouth knocked down or yours sometimes, and just let Jared handle that one, because that's where it needs to go.
He's definitely got more. I'll 100%. He's got way more tact than I do. You know what I mean? Tact is a good word for that.
Tact
Yeah, tact. TACT.
or something. So anyway,
For the new members, though, that's you wouldn't just partner up with me or Matt White,
Right, because they'd probably be out the door
Right.
fairly quickly.
but you
no,
definitely
and you're right.
You definitely partner up with Jared. Let's break him in a little bit here, you know, because Jared will even still get the zingers in too. You know, he just
Absolutely, but
he just does it in a way that makes you feel bad because he's saying it to you. You know,
Yeah.
like, he made me feel bad that he had to
and then,
fight.
and then me and you were staring at him. Well, he just said the same thing I did, but you used different words when we said it. And our volume was raised a little further.
I'm not yelling, it's how I talk.
So there's both sides to that new member thing, where the new member has to be willing to take a little bit of that.
Right.
But at the same time, one of the big things is that's how we've always done it, and that's how we're going to do it. That doesn't fly.
And another thing, this will be the last thing I say because I know you're trying to wrap up. When a new guy comes in, everybody goes, well, you got to prove to us what you're bringing to the table, right? And that statement infuriates me more than anything.
Because you need to prove to them.
I have to prove, like, they're gonna come in and I'm gonna be a chief officer. I have to prove to them that I know what I'm talking about.
You're a giant dummy. You're supposed to be my tech guy here. I don't mean to cut you off. There's all the comments right there. I can read them right on the side, plain as day, like a teleprompter right in front of me. He's supposed to be the tech guy. I can't deal with it. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is why my voice gets so high voice people.
Don't hide with me.
No, not high voice, not like the mayor high voices people.
Didn't we do this last time too? Like,
I
what's that up there
think
last
the
time?
last time we did it, so I think we went over
I'll
some
play
and
your
talked
hair
about
on
some of
that.
that. Now, people have to watching this and are curious or whatever, or watch it later. You have to go and read this stuff too, or get somebody to read it to you.
Right.
See, that was a shot at somebody, but I didn't mean it to everybody.
Right.
I was taking it to Bam. You can get somebody to read it to them, And sorry, Bam. You're kind of, and I want to say about that, and I was just saying, we'll say it in public. You've been a little soft since you've been married, so I don't even give me about the grandkids and being soft.
I'm not gonna say anything, but you should see him order Dunkin' Donuts. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's like a whole thing down there at the Dunkin'
Yeah, me
Donuts.
and him
Huh?
had a good conversation, and then they made a coffee order. I'm looking around for the woman that ordered this. And then Bam walked up and got the coffee.
Somebody put wise man Terry Pegg. I mean, they went deep into the archives there. They brought Terry Pegg's name up on there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So one thing I'll say just to wrap this up, some of the we've talked about this stuff, right? We're a bunch of yo-yos up here talking. One thing I'll take pride in this thing on, Brian, is true. Brian Wright is true. You can talk about Bam or sort, but I think we should pride this thing we're doing here on is I've seen some change out here, just in the way we've interacted with our neighbors, some of our other neighbors, and good for us. We're practicing what we preach. We're learning that we were part of the problem too. While we sit here and talk about these same problems off of here until you actually watch yourself say it. Because I go watch these later, and some people do. You see now. Until you actually watch yourself say it, you're like, man, we're part of the problem. We are doing that same thing we're talking about we shouldn't be doing. So I'm glad for that, and I hope, just any little thing we talk about, whether it's people commenting or us talking, that it helps.
So that has to be the best comment that we got from the get-go of this, is that practice what you preach.
Probably
We're pushing it, and it's changing.
Whether we poke fun
drastically already.
We poke fun at it, but we right.
He's 100% right.
Ooh, say it again, I like it.
No, don't, because then I'm about to hear about it later. But anyway, we thank you for coming and watching us. Like I said, we know, yeah, okay. We know we have to work on stuff. Geez, I can look at a couple incidents over the last month and go, man, this, that, the other thing, even some decisions I made, or we've made. So we will, I guess we'll go try again in 2 weeks. We haven't been booed off here yet, quite yet, but we'll try it again. Anybody wants to be on, fine. We were supposed to have Durso up today, like I said, but he's not feeling well. We'll use our own people. People can come sit here in the fire station with us if you want and talk out of turn like Randy does. He just starts chiming in, but we can have that. There's no problem with that. I mean, what's wrong with having a real firehouse discussion here in the firehouse with other people too? So anybody, anytime, just reach out. And, if you're worried about being on because of political reasons or something, we usually don't get into that stuff. I think everybody's watched. We usually try not to get into that or name calling back and forth. I was thinking about getting, I don't know about the bumper sticker, but I was thinking about getting shirts.
Some nothing showing.
And if you're a guest, I mean, maybe we'll give you one for free, you know, everybody wants a free t-shirt, right?
Spending-
We do it for the t-shirt. Well, that's gonna be different.
Nothing showing has a totally different budget.
Yes, yeah, that's a whole new budget. But,
It's a separate account.
it's not all about joining the fire service to get the t-shirt, bumper sticker, and license plate, right? No? Or that's why we do it?
Exactly
Just
why
so we
I
can
do
wear
it.
our t-shirt around?
That's it.
I can wear my t-shirt today.
So I got the hat on.
All right, we'll see everybody next time. Yeah, don't, all right, I gotta go, son. Look here, Jamie, I gotta go. I don't have time for that. Yeah, I thought about that. We put the cup up there on the thing. Maybe I was hoping they'd call us one day and just say, hey, here's a few bucks to keep us going. So, all right, we're gonna get off while haven't hurt anybody's feelings yet. So we'll see everybody next time. Thank you.